am your host, G.I. Wingnut. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are getting back into 1952 and a planned deception. I know, I did that backwards from usual, but hey, I'm only human. So anyway, working off the list that Constance Cumby gave us, we are up to the Pasadena Theosophical Society. Now, in this particular case, we're just basically going to be looking at names of individuals that are connected to the group and a little bit of the history. Don't really need to go all into the whole Theosophical Society thing because I pretty much covered that in the first video. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on into this. As promised, the Pasadena Theosophical Society. I'm just going to read through this and we're going to reference the names and some of the connection here, like I was saying. Pasadena Theosophical Society. The Pasadena Theosophical Society is a branch of the Theosophical Society, a spiritual organization founded by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky and others in 1875. The Pasadena branch is one of the largest and most well-known theosophical societies in the world, with its international headquarters located in Pasadena, California. The Pasadena Theosophical Society was established in 1895 by William Quan Judge, who was a prominent theosophist and one of the original founders of the Theosophical Society. Judge and his followers, including Kathleen Tingley, broke away from the main Theosophical Society, which was led by Henry Steele Olcott and Annie Besant, due to disagreements over the leadership and direction of the organization. The Pasadena Theosophical Society is known for its emphasis on spiritual growth, self-study, and community service. The Society offers a range of programs and activities, including lectures, workshops, study groups, as well as a library and bookstore. The Society is also home to the Theosophical University, which offers courses and degree programs in theosophy and related subjects. The Pasadena Theosophical Society is also known for its beautiful campus, which features a stunning architecture and beautiful gardens. The Society's headquarters building is a popular tourist destination, and visitors can take guided tours of the campus and attend lectures and events. Overall, the Pasadena Theosophical Society is a unique and fascinating organization that offers a range of spiritual and educational opportunities to its members and visitors. Well, sounds like they got themselves set up kind of like some of those evangelical colleges, like Bob Jones and some of the others. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at the first name on the list. That'd be William Quan Judge. He was born on April 13th, 1851 in Dublin, Ireland. That would put him in a similar origin situation as John Alexander Dowie, I think. I'll have to double check the dates on that later. His family immigrated to the United States when he was 13 years old. He became a naturalized citizen of the United States at age 21 and passed the New York State Bar exam, specializing in commercial law. Career and Theosophical Society. Judge was one of the founders of the Theosophical Society in 1875 and provided superb leadership. I guess that's a subjective term, superb leader, anyway. And provided superb leadership to the American section until his untimely death in 1896. He was a devoted student, colleague, and friend of Helena Blavatsky and Henry Steele Olcott. Judge's writings are among the clearest explanations of the principles of theosophy. Actually, that's something that I'm thinking about addressing later. Anyway, personal life. Judge's early life was marked by hardship, including the death of his mother in childbirth and his own serious illness at the age of 7. Despite these challenges, he went on to become a successful lawyer and prominent figure in the Theosophical Society. His legacy, William Quan Judge's legacy, is one of dedication to the principles of theosophy and his unwavering allegiance to the masters of wisdom, which I will cover momentarily. He is remembered as a true disciple and a shining example of the theosophical path. So, next up, we'll take a look at the masters of wisdom. The concept of masters of wisdom refers to spiritually enlightened beings who have undergone a series of spiritual transformations known as initiations and have achieved a high level of consciousness. These individuals are believed to possess wisdom beyond ordinary human understanding and have the ability to guide and teach others on the path to spiritual growth and self-realization. Huh. Kind of sounds like some stuff I've heard pressed in other places. Characteristics. Masters of wisdom are often described as having the following characteristics. Spiritual enlightenment. They have achieved a deep understanding of the nature of reality and the universe. Wisdom. They possess a profound understanding of the mysteries of life and the universe. Compassion. They are filled with compassion and empathy for all beings. Inner peace. They have achieved a state of inner peace and inner harmony. Inner guidance. They have developed a strong connection to their inner guidance and intuition. And finally, higher consciousness. They have expanded their consciousness to include higher states of awareness and perception. Like Graham Hancock making reference to psychedelics, or Terence McKenna talking to the mushrooms, or maybe some of those shamanistic practices with ayahuasca that are well known for coming from Peru, that sort of thing, or maybe achieving a hypnotic state to receive the fire of God, kind of like what we see over in the New Apostolic Reformation and the charismatic extremist evangelical community, or maybe that heightened level of awareness of working your way up the bridge to nowhere. Or, I'm sorry, they call it the bridge to success. Over there in Scientology, where all they want to do is mess with your head and take your money, like Elvis said. Oh boy. Anyway, examples of masters of wisdom. Some examples of the masters of wisdom include Mahatmas. In the theological tradition, Mahatmas are believed to be spiritually enlightened beings who have undergone a series of spiritual transformations. They are considered to be the masters of the ancient wisdom and are believed to have the power to guide and teach others on the path to spiritual growth and self-realization. Yoga master types, huh? Ascended masters. In the Ascended Master teachings, Ascended Masters are believed to be spiritually enlightened beings who have undergone a series of spiritual transformations and have achieved a high level of consciousness. They are considered to be masters of the ancient wisdom and are believed to have the power to guide and teach others on the path to spiritual growth and self-realization. Oh, you mean like the Saint Germain cults, like the one that Elizabeth Clare Prophet ran? That one that gave that decree or that whatever that decree statement that was later carbon copied by Mike Flynn, the disgraced general. Anyway, another example of masters of wisdom they give is Jesus. In Theosophy, Jesus is believed to be one of the masters of the ancient wisdom and is considered to be the master of the sixth ray. Oh, wow, the sixth ray of the sevenfold rays. Wow, Elizabeth Clare Prophet was talking about that. And I know that we've heard that mentioned elsewhere, thanks to Laura and Magical Mystery Church. Appreciate her work. Please go check her out. Anyway, continuing on with that statement, he is believed to have achieved a high level, Jesus, is believed to have achieved a high level of spiritual enlightenment and is considered to be a powerful guide and teacher for those seeking spiritual growth and self-realization. I there's other ways of doing it than like this. Anyway, closing out, the role of the Masters of Wisdom. Masters of Wisdom are believed to play a crucial role in guiding and teaching others on the path to spiritual growth and self-realization. They are considered to be powerful guides and teachers who can help individuals to achieve a deeper understanding of themselves and the universe. There's that secret knowledge. Continuing, they are also believed to be able to provide guidance and support to individuals who are seeking to develop their spiritual abilities and to achieve a higher level of consciousness. All right, let's go back over here to this, and we're going to take a look at this next name on the list because we've already covered William Quan Judge. So that means Kathleen Tingley is up next. So let's go over here and take a look at my tab on Kathleen Tingley. Kathleen Tingley was a remarkable individual with a multifaceted life. Uh-oh. We're going to pump her up here, make her look good. All right, so here are some key aspects of her life. Early life and education. Kathleen Tingley was born Kathleen Augusta Westcott on July 6, 1847 in Newbury, Massachusetts. She was the only daughter of James P.L. Westcott and Susan Ordway Chase Westcott. She received her education in public schools in Massachusetts and Alexandria, Virginia. Career and philanthropy. Kathleen Tingley was a social worker and prominent theosophist. She led the American section of the Theosophical Society after W.Q. Judge. She founded and led the Theosophical Community, Loma Land, in Point Loma, California. Personal life. Kathleen Tingley was married 3 times. First to Richard Henry Cook, then to George W. Parent, and finally to Philo Buchanan Tingley in 1888. Her marriage to Philo Tingley was her longest and most lasting. Longest and most lasting. That seems redundant to me. So, moving on. Her legacy. Kathleen Tingley's life was marked by her dedication to relieving suffering and promoting theosophy. She was a strong advocate for social justice and worked tirelessly to help those in need. Her legacy continues to inspire those who seek a more compassionate and enlightened world. Notable events. In 1893, she met William Q. Judge, who introduced her to theosophy. In 1896, she succeeded W.Q. Judge as head of the Theosophical Society. In 1898, founded Loma Land, the Theosophical Community, in Point Loma, California. Oh, hey, John Alexander Dowie also founded Zion, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, as a theocratic town. Theocratic town community. Interesting. There was a lot of that going on back then, I suppose. So, continuing in 1901, she faced a libel lawsuit against the Los Angeles Times, which she won, and in 1929 passed away on July 11th. Additional information: Kathleen Tingley's life was marked by her strong convictions and her commitment to making the world a better place. Her legacy continues to inspire those who seek a more compassionate and enlightened world. Hmm. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So, what was the next name on the list here? Ah, that would be Henry Steele Walcott. All right, let's take a look at him. Henry Steele Walcott. Henry Steele Walcott was a remarkable individual with a diverse range of occupations and interests. Huh. Okay, well, he seems likable already. I mean, I can relate. I don't know if I'm a remarkable individual, but do have a diverse range of occupations and interests. So I'm intrigued. Let's find out more. He was born on August 2nd, 1832 in Orange, New Jersey, and passed away on February 17th, 1907 in Adyar, Madras in Chennai, India. Huh. Adyar, that's the name of the Theosoph. Well, let's see, what was it? Who was it? Was it the? I don't remember now. I think it was the Theosophical Society, but Adyar, Spain. There was an Adyar, Spain. Um, I want to say compound. I'm not sure if that's the right word I should use, but resort, I think, is how they defined it. So they pulled the name from India, maybe, which is possible, because I also recall that the Theosophical Society was originally registered as a charitable organization in India. All right, I'm digressing. So back to the article. Early life and career of Alcott. He was a descendant of a family that had settled in America many generations earlier. He was the eldest of six children, born to Henry Wyckoff Walcott or Alcott, sorry, and Emily Steele, both from New York City. He attended City College in New York and later studied at Columbia University. Military and journalism career. Alcott served as a military officer in the American Civil War, holding the rank of colonel. I had heard there were some theosophists in the Civil War. After the war, he worked as an agriculture editor for the New York Tribune from 1858 to 1860. He also served as a special commissioner in the U.S. War and Navy departments from 1863 to 1866. The U.S. War Department has not has not existed for a really long time, and that one's a thorn in my side because when President Andrew Jackson in 1830 signed the Indian Removal Act, and that created things like the Trail of Tears and the reservations in the western portion of our country, America. When the treaties were made with those indigenous tribes, they were made through the U.S. War Department. And when the U.S. War Department was no longer a thing, the treaties, the government didn't know what to do with them. So they put them under the jurisdiction of the newly formed um, Department of Interior. You know, the same folks that handle the national parks and such. Anyway, I'm digressing off into the history. There's been a lot of bad actors throughout time, and now I'm wanting to look into Henry Steele Walcott and figure out what the heck his role might have been, if any, in any of those treaties. Yeah, yeah. Warehouse 13 kicked in again. I would apologize, but that's just how my brains. Back to this. Theosophical Society and Revival of Buddhism. Alcott was a co-founder and first president of the Theosophical Society, a group that explored the mysteries of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Eastern religions. In 1878, he and Helena Petrovna Blavatsky traveled to India and Sri Lanka, where they took the 5 lay precepts of Buddhism, becoming the first Americans to do so. Olcott's personal life. He was married to Mary Epley Morgan, and his later life was marked by his travels to Asia to promote and revive Buddhism. He is remembered as the White Buddhist of Ceylon in Sri Lanka, where his legacy is still celebrated today. And his legacy reads, Henry Steele Olcott's life was marked by his diverse pursuits and interests, from military to journalism to law and spirituality. His work with the Theosophical Society and his revival of Buddhism in Asia have had a lasting impact on the world. Now see, just reading that blurb, he doesn't sound like that bad of a guy. Except the undercurrent of the doctrines that they're putting out on the front is shady at best, in my opinion. All right, so who's next on the list? That would be Annie Besant. All right, so let's take a look at her. Annie Besant was a British social reformer, woman rights activist, writer, and orator who played a significant role in various social and political movements of her time. Born on October 1st, 1847 in London, England, she was a prominent figure in the Indian independence movement, women's suffrage, and theosophy. I wonder if I ever got anywhere close to where she was, having with her living in London. I used to go hang out there all the time when I was stationed over in England. It's an amazing city. I do remember, though, being in total awe of the cab drivers there. There was no way I was going to try to drive in that city. Anyway, moving on. Early life and career. Annie Besant was born Annie Wood and grew up in a family that valued education and social reform. She married Frank Besant, a cleric, in 1867, but the marriage was unhappy and ended in divorce in 1873. During this period, she became involved in various social and political organizations, including the National Secular Society, the Malthusian League, and the Fabian Society. We'll take a quick peek at those in a moment. Theosophical Society and Indian Independence Movement. In 1889, Besant joined the Theosophical Society, a spiritual organization founded by Helena Blavatsky and Henry Steele Olcott. She became a close friend and collaborator of Blavatsky and was instrumental in promoting the society's teachings and principles. Besant was also a strong supporter of Indian independence and worked closely with Indian nationalists, including Mahatma Gandhi, to promote the cause. Women's rights and social reform. Besant was a vocal advocate for women's rights and social reform. She wrote extensively on topics such as birth control, marriage reform, and labor rights. Her work on these issues helped to raise awareness and spark debate about the need for social change. Okay, I got something I got to interject into that, but I'll have to go grab something real quick. We'll get to that in just a moment. Personal life and legacy. Besant had 2 children, Arthur and Mabel, and later adopted Jiddu Krishnamurti, a young Indian boy who is believed to be the reincarnation of the Buddha. She died on September 20th, 1933, at the age of 85, leaving behind a legacy as a pioneering figure in social reform, theosophy, and Indian independence. All right, so I want to go back to this real quick um, on the birth control thing. I got to grab something. I got to go grab something real quick. I'll pull it up here in just a second. Hang on, hang on. All right, so my Warehouse 13 brain jumped off onto this Margaret Sanger thing, Planned Parenthood and all that. Bad legacies, in my opinion. But the reason that she was doing her work was because of the fact that there were these office romances and stuff going on. And as a result of the Comstock Act of 1873, it was made illegal to mail pornographic materials or materials that would incite riots or certain abortion related matter. Okay. So at this point in history, it was unacceptable for women to be pregnant, single women to be pregnant and seen in public. And if a secretary got pregnant, she might go off on vacation for a while, have her baby, leave it wherever she had it, and then move on, go back to work. That's how, though, that some might call it baby farming now, but that's how it was that there were so many babies available for those incubators in the World's Fair in the late 1800s. So I totally digressed. Let's go back over here to Anna Besant or Annie Besant, and we'll take a look at these other organizations: the National Secular Society, the Malthusian League, and the Fabian Society. Heading on over to the National Secular Society tab. The National Secular Society is a campaigning organization founded in 1866 to champion the principles of secularism and the separation of church and state. The organization aims to promote secular principles and the separation of church and state in the United Kingdom, ensuring that no one is either advantaged or disadvantaged on account of their beliefs. The National Secular Society has a long history of advocating for secularism, dating back to its founding by Charles Bradlaugh in 1866. The organization has been involved in various campaigns and initiatives to promote secularism, including challenging religious privileges in public services and promoting inclusive languages and practices in institutions. The National Secular Society is a member of Humanists International and has worked alongside Humanist UK to advance shared values, including as part of the Humanist Council and Humanist Association. The organization also has a podcast, Opinion Out Loud, which features audio versions of its opinion pieces on various topics related to secularism and human rights. The National Secular Society is incorporated as a UK company limited by guarantee and has an income of £232,149 between 2006 and 2007. The organization's president has included notable figures such as David Tribe and Barbara Smoker, who have contributed to increasing the use of the media to promote secularist views. Who have contributed to increasing the use of media to promote secular views. Huh, sounds a little like Operation Mockingbird, from the CIA. I could be wrong, but it sounds similar. Closing out this bit, the National Secular Society has also been involved in various campaigns and initiatives, including the Secularist of the Year Award, which recognizes individuals who have made significant contributions to the promotions of secularism. Interesting. I may have to dig into that deeper at some other time as well. So let's take a quick look at the Malthusian League. The Malthusian League was a British organization that advocated for practice of contraception and the education of the public about the importance of family planning. Established in 1877, the League was secular, utilitarian, individualistic, and above all Malthusian, quote unquote, above all Malthusian. The organization was founded by Charles Bradlaugh and Annie Besant, who were arrested and exonerated for publishing a pamphlet describing techniques to prevent pregnancy. Key achievements: published a pamphlet, Hygienic Methods for Family Limitation, which advocated for withdrawal, douching, and condoms as birth control methods. Well, okay. They're effective methods. They're not 100% foolproof, but yeah, anyway. Held the first open air meeting. Oh, and by the way, on that birth control thing, that hygienic family or methods of family limitation, um, that's actually a teaching that would directly fly in the face of things like the quiverful doctrine, where you have as many kids as you can, so you got all these arrows to fire at the enemy. Like they're kids, they're not projectiles, unless they're human cannonballs. That's a whole other story. Anyway, moving on. Held the first open air. They heard. Let's see. They held the first open air meeting in London, promoting the League's mission and advocated for birth control. Established a monthly publication, The Malthusian, which spread awareness about birth control and family planning. Proposed setting up the first British birth control clinic in London. Had notable members including Charles Bradlaugh, Annie Besant, and H.G. Wells, who served as vice president of the League. H.G. Wells, boy howdy, there's a whole other subject right there. Malthusian and population control. By the way, there's some UN-backed yoga cults like the Violet Flame under Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and there's another one that promote abstinence and population control. So anyway, the Malthusian League was deeply rooted in the concept of Malthusianism, which posits that population growth is potentially exponential, while the growth of food supply or other resources is linear. This can lead to a Malthusian catastrophe, where population growth outpaces agricultural production because causing famine or war. The League's advocacy for birth control aimed to prevent such catastrophes by promoting family planning and population control. Why does Bill Gates pop to mind? Why do the Georgia Guidestones pop to mind? Wow. Okay, moving on. Legacy. The Malthusian League played a significant role in promoting birth control and family planning in the 19th century and early 20th centuries. Although the organization was dissolved in 1927, its legacy to influence discussions around population control and reproductive health. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, at least we know where that root comes from. And last but not least of this particular category, and then one more real quick tab. Fabian Society. The Fabian Society is a British socialist organization that aims to promote the principles of social democracy and democratic socialism through gradualist and reformist efforts in democracies. Oh, wait a minute. Pause. Hold up. Whoa, stop the presses. Okay, so there's a whole lot of this is coming out of Britain, as you see. British Socialist Organization. I know they don't capitalize it, but when you start looking at social democracy, again, small letters, and democratic socialism, again, small letters, that brings up concepts to me like Well, Bernie Sanders is a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. Social democracy, though, can be seen in governmental structures like in Sweden. They have an extremely high tax rate, like 50% total or something in that neighborhood, and they get quote unquote free college and free health care. But it's not really free, they're paying for it. Anyway, so back to this. The Fabian Society was founded in 1884. The society has been at the forefront of developing political ideas and public policy on the left for over 140 years. See, I've been telling people, these folks have been playing a long game, a real long game. Okay, so the history. The Fabian Society was founded on January 4th, 1884, in London as an offshoot of a society called the Fellowship of the New Life, which was the forebearer of the British ethical and humanist movements. The early Fabians, including George Bernard Shaw, and Sidney and Beatrice Webb, rejected the revolutionary doctrines of Marxism and instead advocated for gradual transition to a socialist society. Interesting. The purpose, the Fabian Society's purpose is to promote greater equality of power, wealth, and opportunity, the value of collective action and public service, an accountable, tolerant, and active democracy, citizenship, liberty and human rights, sustainable development, and multilateral international cooperation. Okay, so um, I'm struggling with a lot of that. I'm struggling with a lot of that because, yeah, that's such a mixed bag. I mean, I can get along with the idea of equality of power, like no centralized power structure, not exactly anarchic, especially if you have an accountability system. And the tolerance thing is, it depends upon what you mean by tolerant. There are some things in society I am willing to tolerate. There are other things I have zero tolerance for. An active democracy is important. Citizenship, liberty, and human rights are important. There is a value to an active collective action and public service. That Jesus promotes that with community efforts and the church supposed to being charged with taking care of the homeless, feeding them and giving them shelter if possible. Maybe helping them get the services they might need to help them get off the street and into a home, like, oh, I don't know, mental health counseling, drug and alcohol treatment. Um, Opportunity, equality, and opportunity. Yeah, that would mean getting rid of racism and discrimination. I could work with that. But again, that's a double edged sword. Wealth, that's one of those things I struggle with because wealth, in my opinion, especially in a secular context, tends to mean to me a greedy person. And I've got real problems with that human trait. Sustainable development. Um, yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's a whole other bucket of worms. And multilateral international cooperation. Well, at least they've got that international thing in there. They're still showing countries, which is something I've heard somebody else say that we need to get rid of. And yeah, there does need to be more cooperation, but not on a war footing. Uh, and not in exchange for raw materials either. this one is really tricky. I mean, I kind of like some of the things they're saying, but the things they're tied to is what makes it toxic, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Somebody please correct me if I am. Membership. The Fabian Society has a membership of over 8,000 individuals, including Labor Party politicians, academics, and activists. The Society is affiliated with the Labor Party and has been a significant influence on British politics, and not necessarily for the better. Many Labor Party leaders, including Gary Starmer, have been Fabians. Oh, good Lord, I'm moving right along. Activities. The Fabian Society is a think tank that publishes research reports and pamphlets on a wide range of topics, including economics, politics, and social policy. The Society also hosts conferences, speaker meetings, and roundtables, and facilitates a member database, and activism across the UK. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be chuckling. Um, I'm wondering how deeply tied the Fabian Society is with other think tanks that I'm aware of that have quote unquote war gamed various scenarios for like how to handle situations with elections, going into and coming out of various possibilities. It's wild. It's wild some of the things that these think tanks come up with. Notable members. Notable members of the Fabian Society include George Bernard Shaw, Sidney and Beatrice Webb, Lasky, G.D.H. Cole, R.H.S. Crossman, Roy Jenkins, Ian Mercado, Dennis Healy, Margaret Cole, and Keir Starmer. Their influence, the Fabian Society, has been a significant influence on British politics and society, shaping the development of the Labour Party and the UK's social and economic policies. The Society's ideas and principles have also influenced socialist movements and parties around the world. Wow. Okay. I'm now that I've got this reference point to work from, when I move into some other work in the future, I now have this pin that I can refer to. This is crazy. This is crazy stuff. So, last tab, this is coming from the Theosophical Society, theosophydownunder.org. And I just wanted to share this who are we thing. We are the Australasian representatives of the Theosophical Society with its international headquarters in Pasadena, USA. Our aims are one, to diffuse among men a knowledge of the laws inherent in the universe. Sounds like natural law. I can work with that. A moral compass without a dogmatic or doctrinal bend to it. Okay, I can work with that to a degree. Number two, to promulgate the knowledge of the essential unity of all that is, and to demonstrate that this unity is fundamental in nature. Okay, so now that gets off into esotericism and Kabbalistic teachings, as well as that universal oneness ideology. All right, things that we've been hearing talked about within the New Apostolic Reformation and the American Evangelical Church. Number three, to form an active brotherhood among men. To a degree, I can agree with that. I can. But then again, bad actors do bad things. So, I struggle with that one. I cannot include all in my circle. There's just no way. That's just me. Minimizing risk hazards. Number four, to study ancient and modern religious science and philosophy. Well, okay. I might be guilty of that one, doing comparative cult studies. with political ties to everything. And I love genuine science. Pseudoscience, yeah, it got me off out in the weeds. I'm glad to be out of all that. But again, this is one of those things where I think that the sources that you decide to consider facts should be highly scrutinized. And number 5, to investigate the powers innate in man. I'm just going to leave that one alone. To end this, we sponsor meetings and study groups and have an extensive library in Melbourne. All right, so that concludes this segment. Thanks for hanging out to the end. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something. I know I learned a couple of things. And please, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you liked the content, please give it a like. And by all means, please feel free to share it with whoever you might think will benefit from this information. Until the next video, I hope that you stay healthy and take care of yourself. Mental health matters.
Mighty I am present, I am here, O God, and I am the instrument of those sevenfold rays and archangels.
We are your instrument of those sevenfold rays and all your archangels, all of them.
And I will not retreat, I will take my stand, I will not fear to speak, and I will be the instrument of God's will, whatever it is.
We will not retreat. We will not retreat. We will stand our ground. We will not fear to speak. We will be the instrument of your will, whatever it is.
Here I am, so help me God, in the name of Archangel Michael and his legions. I am freeborn, and I shall remain freeborn, and I shall not be enslaved by any foe within or without.
In your name, and the name of your legions, we are freeborn, and we shall remain freeborn, and we shall not be enslaved by any foe, within or without. So help me God. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you very much.